Making videos with your instrument isn't actually that difficult or expensive as a lot of people might think. Yes, it's a whole new world to learn if you really want to get good at it, but it's also a lot of fun and of course can be a huge factor in promoting your music on YouTube and social media nowadays. So I'm here with my friend Marius and we'll go through all the basics to show you how to go from this to this. Everything we will show you today applies to any instrument, so regardless if you want to make videos on guitar, bass, vocals or even your whole band, if you follow these steps, you'll be set to have a very good base for making really good quality videos of yourself. For the sake of the tutorial, we'll stick to drums today, since that's in my opinion the most complicated to film, so it will cover everything you need to know. So step one would be about instrument positioning. For guitar, I would say it's relatively easy because you only need to film the front and you see everything that's going on. For drums, it's a little bit more complicated because in a best case scenario, you want a 360 coverage to really see what is going on. You also have to work with what you got. So in this case, we have a relatively long room. We don't need so much space in the back and you can see that there's a lot of junk just stored in there. So what we come up with as a solution is we will put up a divider here and create a smaller room. It's important to create some depth if possible. So speaking of drums, don't put the drums right against the wall because then you don't have space to put cameras over there. But I would say since the divider will be a relatively neutral background, we will flip the drum set around and have the kick drum and the whole drum set facing the other way. Alright, to my eye this looks much better already. We've set up our old backdrop from our previous band we had together as a room divider. So now we have a more compact room to work with and all of the junk is hidden and out of sight. So time for step two, the visual design, because as you can see, this doesn't look interesting or visually appealing at all. So we definitely need to do something about that. Here it's of course totally up to you, your taste and creativity, but also your budget. Two things I would recommend you to keep in mind here. Number one, don't go crazy and buy cool furniture or tons of decoration just because it looks cool. Keep it simple and see what you already have laying around or what you can build yourself cheaply. This can also be a really cool journey you can look back on in a few years where your studio grows together with your videos. So it's absolutely not necessary to have a finished YouTube studio right from the start. Number two, too many details in the background are distracting. So if you have some cool stuff to decorate your room, make sure it's not too much and not all over the place because it will look too chaotic for the viewer and takes the focus away from what's actually important, your performance. So what we'll do here is go for a super minimalistic approach. We will try to completely black out the room so nothing will distract from what's going on the drums. What a transformation already. The banner provides some stiffness to the black cloth so it doesn't flap around when you walk past it. And now all the attention goes straight to the drums. One thing you immediately noticed when standing in here is how much light all this blackness absorbs. So we intentionally left the ceiling white because you will never see it, but it gives us a natural big surface from which the light can bounce back onto the drums. Now that everything looks much more appealing, let's continue with step 3, audio recording. As you saw in the before example at the beginning, good audio quality plays a huge role in a good video. It doesn't matter how pretty your video might look, if it sounds bad, nobody is gonna watch it for more than 5 seconds. So we need to be able to record good audio, again, without spending a ton of money. First of all, we need an audio interface. We've chosen this Behringer UMC 1820 because it gives us 8 XLR channels that we need for recording drums, but it is also future-proof, so in case Marius wants to record more channels in the future, he can add something like a Behringer ADA 8200 and expand this to 16 inputs, for example. For now, 8 is absolutely enough, but whichever interface you choose, keep in mind that you are also buying it for the future. If you know you will need more channels at some point, don't buy something you can't upgrade. For drum mics, we went with this T-Bone DC 1500 set, which is one of the most affordable drum mic sets available on Thomann. And as some of you know, it is also the exact mic set I have been using for many years on all my drum recordings, and I'm still really happy with it. For the snare, we originally wanted to go with the classic SM57, but since there's a very exceptionally good T-Bone clone, the MB75, which I also use all the time for drums and guitars, we went with that and saved about 2/3 of the price. Then there are cables, of course. If you're starting out, I think it's perfectly fine to go with the cheapest XLR cables you can find. This setup is for a home studio and not for touring, so they don't need to be super tough and you can save a few bucks. Later on, you can always upgrade, or as I always recommend, learn how to build your own high quality cables for next to nothing. This here is a multi-core cable. It is not necessary, but since it's only about 20 or 25 bucks, it helps to keep everything much cleaner and more organized once all the cables are in place. And obviously we need some mic stands, so we went with some very affordable ones because, again, this setup is not meant to be moved around, so for starting out this is totally fine. Okay, all the mic cables come together here at this DIY control desk. So Marius, tell us what's going on here.
This desk actually is just part of a €9 plastic shelf, which I also used live for years because it's inexpensive, it's very lightweight, it can be assembled and disassembled in literally seconds. So it's a great and cheap solution for all the gear you need, like your laptop, mini mixer, trigger module, and so on. So down here we place the audio interface because once everything is set up, you will not need to touch it again. Same with the drum module that I use for my kick triggers. On top there is a mini mixer, so you could hear your in-ear mix, and of course the heart of everything, the laptop. If you do not have a laptop, you can of course bring your whole desktop computer, but a laptop makes everything a lot easier. It does not need to be very powerful, but make sure your DAW can record multiple tracks at once.
Step 4 is all about lighting, which is probably the most important visual aspect. I would even say more important than cameras. Video lights can get very expensive very quickly, so we will keep it simple. If you are starting out, you can also look into DIY solutions. There are some very great tutorials on YouTube on how to build your own lights for just a few bucks. Here we have 2 very basic softboxes from Amazon. You can often find these really cheap on the used market as well, because during the pandemic, for example, everyone bought these kinds of lights, and now many people are selling them for very cheap. These are, of course, not the fanciest lights. They do not have a huge output and have only an on-off switch, so you can't really control the brightness, but they are bright enough and they work perfectly fine for what we are doing here. Step 5, cameras. Let's be clear, you absolutely don't need the newest or most expensive cameras because most people already have a very decent camera in their pocket. So always use what you have first. If you need more, for example for recording multiple angles on drums, check the used market first. Cameras have been at a point where they deliver very good image quality for years, and older models are getting cheaper and cheaper while still delivering the same great image quality. For example, my biggest recommendation after your phone is this DJI Osmo Action from its first generation. It came out in 2019 and you can get it used for around 70 to 85 euros, which is honestly crazy for what it offers. The wide angle is perfect for music videos. You can mount it on a guitar headstock or use one of these head straps for POV shots on drums, which look especially cool during drum fills, for example. You can also mount it with these magic arms anywhere on your kit, which is great for creative angles without needing extra tripods. For something like a foot cam, you can go even cheaper, like this GoPro Hero 2 can cost less than 10 euros and still gives you 1080p, which is more than enough for a small corner shot. And if you have a friend who can film you with a second phone, use that of course. Always make use of what you already have before investing in new gear. One very important thing, if you are using multiple cameras, make sure they all shoot in their highest resolution and more importantly, the same frame rate. I would recommend 24 or 30 FPS. Definitely stay away from anything higher like 50 or 60. Trust me, everyone who says you need 60 FPS for these type of videos is a moron and doesn't know what they're talking about. I'm already looking forward to the comments on that. Alright, I think we covered everything, so now it's time to place the cameras, set up the lights and record some drums. Alright, so let's move on to the final step 6, editing. This is where everything comes together. We've recorded our audio, we've filmed all the different angles, and now it's time to turn all of that into an actual video. Don't worry, I'll keep it simple because you don't need to be an expert to actually get good results here. Let's start with the audio. For this I'm using Reaper, which is what I would personally recommend if you're just getting started. It's very powerful, relatively easy to use, and you can test it for free for 60 days. After that, a license is around $60 if I'm correct, which is honestly a great deal for what you get here. As you can see, all of our drum microphones are recorded on separate tracks here. So we have snare, all the toms, overheads, kick microphone and kick trigger. So if I solo them, you can hear what each mic is actually doing. And this is where you start shaping your sound. Now, this can get very deep very quickly, but for the purpose of this tutorial, I want to keep it as simple as possible. What I usually do is very basic. I put a simple EQ on each track to clean things up a bit and maybe add a little bit of reverb to make everything sound more natural and less dry. That's it. There's no one correct way to mix drums, it's all taste. So don't overthink in the beginning, just try to make it sound good to your ears. Also, there are tons of tutorials specifically for mixing drums in Reaper, so if you want to go deeper, you'll find everything you need to know online. Once you're happy with your mix, you export the final audio. Now let's move over to the video editing. I'm using DaVinci Resolve here, which is completely free and incredibly powerful. As you can see, we have multiple video tracks stacked on top of each other and each one is a different camera angle. So the first thing you want to do is sync all your footage with your final audio mix, and once everything is in sync, you can actually mute or delete the original camera audio because, let's be honest, it doesn't sound good at all. So from here, editing is actually very simple. You just go through your timeline, cut on the beat or wherever it feels right, and switch between the different camera angles. Enable the track you want to see, disable the other ones, and that's basically it. One really useful tip: if you don't have many cameras, you can still get a lot of different angles by recording the same song multiple times and repositioning the cameras each time. Then you just use the audio from one take and sync all the other recordings to that one. As long as you play tight and consistent, nobody will notice the difference. And no, that's not cheating for me. The performance is still real because you're not editing and faking anything you've recorded or trying to hide any mistakes. For this tutorial, I'm not gonna dive into things like color grading or advanced editing. That's something you can explore later when you're comfortable with the basics. And that's pretty much it. Hopefully this video helped you to get started on making your first YouTube videos. If so, definitely post your results in the comments. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments as well. I will answer them either there, or maybe we will turn this into a full series and go deeper into everything. Anyway, thank you, Marius, for participating in this. Thank you guys for watching until the end, and I'll see you in the next one.